Ring-a-ling, ring. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Are you kidding me? Wait, who are you? Who are
Dalton
you?
Georgopulos, what's up? What's up?
Dalton.
DG.
Dalton, I'm on my brick phone right now. Can you hear
That's
me?
yeah, it's very retro. I love it.
It's like I think it's like Singular Wireless before AT&T bought them.
That thing weighs like
Woo!
10 pounds.
Yeah, it's
Could do a
heavy.
workout with that.
It is a brick. You could do CrossFit with this thing. Dalton Georgopulos.
So glad to
You
be
got a
here. Thank you.
you got a way cooler last name than me. Hall.
It's,
Hall is super boring.
but it's
Georgopulos is
simple.
cool.
The amount of times I have to dude, the amount of times I've been to anywhere and just like, hey, here's my name, and they're like, great,
Uh-huh.
last name. I'm like, let me spell it. Like, it's not even worth
Oh, yeah.
it's not even worth me saying it at this point. Like, let me just spell it for you, and then I'll have you guess what it
Yeah.
is. have
Yeah.
you guess what it is.
Yeah.
So
How many
yeah,
letters in your last name? Like 12?
close,
13?
closer,
You're
nine,
counting? Huh?
nine, nine.
Oh, 9?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I thought it was like 57.
close,
Dalton
somewhere around there.
Georgopulos.
Georgopolis.
Dude, coming at us from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes.
But you haven't been in Charlotte, North Carolina all that long, so we could just pretend that you're back in Colorado.
Yeah. Yes, I am originally from the great state of Colorado. Vastly different from Charlotte.
Yeah.
Especially once you get out of the city, you kind
Uh-huh.
of experience more of the country.
Uh-huh.
Charlotte's definitely what I'm used to, like being in the suburbs and kind of the inner city.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, let me tell you, getting out of the city of Charlotte is like, man, it took me months. Like
Uh-huh.
people were talking in ways I had no idea. Trees everywhere, they're so green. Like in Colorado, you could see the mountains from miles and miles away, and
Right.
then you know where you are. But here it's like,
Yeah.
man, if you don't know, you don't know. So it's kind of it
Yeah.
definitely
Very
took a while to get
flat.
used to.
Very flat over
Definitely took a
here.
while to get used to. Yeah, a big
Uh-huh.
difference from what I'm used to, but I'm definitely enjoying being here.
Heck yeah. Dalton, I
So
have a question that just popped into my head. What was
go for it.
the last live concert you went to?
The last live concert I went to was
Yeah.
at Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado.
Yes,
If
I've
you're
been
familiar,
there.
you've been there?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
When I didn't watch anything, I just visited.
Okay. The concerts
Mm-hmm.
there, man, they're otherworldly. I saw
Mm-hmm.
a EDM duo by the name of Lewis the Child. Uh, one of my
Okay.
one of my personal favorites.
Uh-huh.
It was an unbelievable experience.
Yeah.
I it was like my first like actual big concert that I like spent money on. I
Uh-huh.
went to One Republic in high school, but like
Uh-huh.
it was kind of it's kind of funny. My friends hit me up and they go, "Hey, we're going to see One Republic this weekend. We've asked a few people and they couldn't go. So like, do you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll be your
Uh-huh.
last choice. That sounds great." Uh, um, but yeah, that was Lewis the Child was my first like actual in-person concert, and it definitely broke the bank. And it's one of those things
Mm,
where it's such a beautiful venue that I feel like I can't top that. So
right.
it's like either I go back there or I gotta find something that's just as
Yeah.
good because I don't know what else I would experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, what about
I've
you? What was the last concert
the last
you visited?
concert. Well, I blew my ACL in the mosh pit watching a punk band called Lagwagon. That was that was right before COVID hit, and I'm guessing I've seen music between now and then, but that's the one that popped into my brain.
Yeah,
So that's
I just
fun
figured
to
out.
blow your ACL in a
Yeah, I
mosh
just
pit.
figured that out this Sunday actually at church. That you, I was expecting like a skateboarding incident or something, but just
Yeah. I
good old Mike
jacked
Hall
up my
moshing and
I,
getting his ACL.
at 48 years old.
Exactly.
Woo.
What a
Yeah.
story that is, though.
It's a story. I had to watch the rest of the concert from a little handicap area in the back of the room, sitting in a folding chair with my knee the size of a grapefruit under my jeans. That was fun.
Did anyone like take care of you in that moment, or were you just like, hey, we need to get this guy out of here, and we're just gonna sit him here, and he's gonna finish
Well, my knee just
out?
buckled and I hit the ground, and then someone helped me up, and then I just kind of hopped to the side, and I'm like, I did it again, because it's not
Yeah.
the first time
Yeah.
that I've jacked my knee up, but the other times were lacrosse and, as you said, skateboarding.
Gotcha.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, that's gotta be scary. Just knowing that it's just sent and it's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
then I had reconstructive surgery again on it. Dalton, you grew up a soccer player. Like,
Correct.
did you play soccer from a really young age, or did you pick it up in like middle school, high school? Were you out there
Yeah.
playing pee wee soccer at like 5 years old?
Yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time I played since I was in diapers, and no, that's
Uh
not when I was like 8 years old. So probably I don't know. Probably started kicking the ball around when I was like 3, and then
Yeah.
my first ever team I played for was called the Green Lanterns at the YMCA in
Yes.
Colorado. We
Yes.
were incredible. Um, but yeah, dude, play all my life, and
Mm-hmm.
something I enjoy, and it's weird being done with it, like in the sense of like I don't wake up on Saturday mornings and like grab my gear and go, travel for
Mm-hmm.
a game, or
Mm-hmm.
um, got to worry about practice after work or school. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, being in that post era is is a weird thing for me for sure. Even being 3 years out of it.
Right.
Um, but
Did
yeah,
you
definitely.
ever did you ever consider another sport, or was it always soccer?
Yeah, so I actually at the YMCA, like I mentioned, I started with soccer, and then I played t-ball. And
T-ball.
the thing about t-ball, man, is it's so incredibly boring. Where like they put me in the
Uh-huh.
outfield, and I
Yeah.
just like walked off. I was like, I can't do this. I remember one time it was my last game, and
Yeah.
um I got so bored in the outfield where I just like literally walked off and told my parents like, no, I'm done. Like I can't do this.
I'm not doing
Um
this.
yeah, and I remember like completely embarrassing my parents because they were like, Dalton, like finish out the game, and like all the other parents like, what is he doing?
You were
Yeah.
like,
But
no.
I knew from that moment I was like, this ain't me. This ain't me. And then
This
I
is
played.
stupid.
Yeah, exactly. And then I played basketball in middle school, which was kind of
Mm-hmm.
just like stay fit in the off season for
Mm-hmm.
soccer kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm a pretty short guy, so everyone grew and I didn't. So kind of had to let that dream go. I remember getting
Yeah.
cut my gosh, 8th grade year. I played for a feeder like team going into my high school, so it was
Uh-huh.
like a club, if you will. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I remember getting the call that I got cut, and I was like devastated. But then I was like, you know what? I'm probably like 5'3" as an 8th grader. I'm like, yeah, this is not gonna work out, so I'll just stick with soccer. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, definitely,
Dang. So
definitely
back to
something.
soccer. You're like, okay, let's put all our eggs in this basket of
For sure.
soccer.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then high school. So what got you hyped for soccer in the first place? Was it mom and dad? Was it older brother? Was it a neighbor kid? How did that become your thing?
Yeah, man. My dad played a lot when he was younger,
Mm-hmm.
and then my older brother played, and so I feel like soccer is one of those sports where everyone kind of like tries it when they're really little, and then
Mm-hmm.
by like year 2 or 3, they figure out they hate it or they love it, and then they
Mm-hmm.
quit or they just like
Mm-hmm.
go all in. And I was one
Right.
of those guys that I just enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think it was a little bit of like family influence, but also like I made a lot of cool friends, and then um, yeah, really just like fell in love with kicking a ball around, and um, so that's kind of how I fell in love with it initially.
Yeah. Well, the reason that I ask so much about soccer is that is a really big part of your moment, because
Hmm.
the moment that we're going to get to here in a minute had a lot to do with you having a scholarship.
Hmm.
You were in college playing soccer when this all went down. So
Yeah.
capture just a little bit of, you finish high school, you get accepted to a college, they give you a scholarship. Was it like a full ride or just like partial or what?
Yeah. So I had a period actually prior to prior to my freshman year of high school, where I just like took a season off. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
it got to the point where I was like, okay, it's getting really competitive. I got cut from the first team at my club, and I was just like, man, I don't know if this is
Mm-hmm.
something I want to pursue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then once high school rolled around, um, played really well, and then I was like, do I want to, do this in college further? And
Mm-hmm.
my grades weren't the best, so it was one of those things where it was like, if I want to go to college, I kind of need to get my crap together and play really
Uh-huh.
well. So
Yeah.
luckily, my older brother was playing at a school called John Brown University in Arkansas, and
Uh-huh.
so he honestly just like told his coach about me. I think it's one of those things where a lot of people think college sports is like, hey, you need to go to showcases, you need to send coaches your videos, you need to do A, B, and C, which it is
Mm-hmm.
that. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, it's like, if you don't have the right connections with certain people, um, things are just not going to happen. And so I remember kind of just having a conversation with my dad at one point and, with myself really of just like, do I want to make this a reality? And then actually went out my junior year to train with the team, which was huge. Absolutely got clobbered. I mean, I'm a 17-year-old junior in high school who
Yeah.
probably weighs like 125 pounds and like
Uh-huh.
super short, just getting clobbered.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I loved it. I loved the experience. I loved playing around really good players that were
Mm-hmm.
ex-professionals that are from different countries. And
Mm-hmm.
then fast forward to my senior of high school, I got halfway through my senior year, I got offered a spot on their team, and so
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I gotta take that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, which was a really cool thing because, um, having seeing my future kind of solidified in a way earlier on instead of like May of that year trying to find a place to play was a huge
Mm-hmm.
blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, moving forward, I um, played my freshman year as an 18-year-old. Coming in, man, I was like had so many different emotions. I think I had emotions of like and thoughts of like I'm gonna rock this, I'm gonna kill it, and some thoughts of like, man, I'm heading into the lion's den here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember getting there, and it's you know August 5th. I remember the day, August 5th,
Mm-hmm.
2019, first day of
Mm-hmm.
preseason. It's probably 100 degrees, stupidly humid. Coming from Colorado, where it's completely dry and less hot,
Right.
like
Right. Right.
unreal. Because I was doing my pre-workouts like in Colorado, and once I got there, I was like, whoa, this is vastly
Yeah.
different. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that first day, dude, we did. I had to get like a mile under 6 minutes, and
Mm-hmm.
then 10 minutes later, we did like the beat test, and it was after that where I was like, did I make the right decision? Like,
Mm.
am I really where I'm supposed to be?
Was your brother
And
there with you at the same time?
no, so he graduated college in 2018, and
Okay.
I started my freshman year in 2019. So
Okay. Got it.
yeah, so there's a little bit of a gap there.
Okay.
But what was nice is I knew the coach that scouted me and that
Mm-hmm.
played or was over my brother, and so um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean I played relatively well my freshman year. Played most games, probably like 30 minutes as a freshman, scored 3 goals. So it's like I didn't have, you know, a wonder year, but I wasn't a bench player. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
that was
That's
like
awesome.
so cool for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the moment that I want to get into is,
Uh-huh.
um, man, I was on a 70% paid scholarship. And so as I was playing in the NAIA, so there's NCAA and then there's NAIA.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a different organization that allows a lot more people to play in it. So
Mm-hmm.
I played with a guy named Oscar Carballo, who literally played for the Costa Rican 21 national team and decided to come play at a
Wow.
small school in Arkansas. I'm like, what are you doing here, bro? I was like, I
Wow.
just got done playing like high school soccer and I'm playing with you. Like, this is
Uh-huh.
wild. Um, so
Wow.
yeah, the competition was just unreal. Um,
Yeah.
but I remember getting my first year done. Battled through some injuries, nothing serious, and then COVID hit that 2020. So went home, did school online. It's kind of threw everything for a curveball. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember have a heart for ministry as I'm a follower of Jesus, and I remember Kanakuk approached our school. Um,
Mm-hmm.
gosh, January of 2020 before everything went downhill,
Mm-hmm.
and was like, hey, we're looking for counselors, apply. We'll love to have an interview with you, whatever. So did that process, went home, got a call about 2 months later saying, hey, we'd love to have you out in Branson, Missouri for camp. And I'm like,
Been there too.
it's, yeah. And it's, oh, you've been to Kennecott?
Yeah. No, I've been
Incredible.
to Branson.
Okay, Branson. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so it was one of those things where we're like, okay, but it's, middle of COVID and, how is this going to work out? Going
Yeah.
to a place I've never been to before. I don't
Right.
know anybody over like
So it's
I
like a
met,
youth camp, right?
yeah. So I led,
Yeah.
gosh, I had a cabin full of 12 seventh graders for like 4 weeks. And then
Uh-huh.
that month before in May, I was, like working and like cleaning up the camp. So I was there for about a month and a half total.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there was one particular day where, prior to this, I was helping lead the soccer portion of the camp. So,
Mm-hmm.
kids would have their different rotations and whatnot. And then, they'd choose, hey, I want to do football, I want to do soccer, I want to do basketball, whatever. So me
Mm-hmm.
and this guy, one of my buddies, Samson, played at a school in Kansas. We're leading the soccer portion. Um, and one day they were like, hey, Dalton, we need you on the lake all day. And I was like, all right, cool, like whatever.
Like
Because prior I was
lifeguarding stuff or doing like canoe
no,
rentals or
yeah. So it was like I was, you know, canoeing with like 30 kids, and then we'd do paddleboarding, and then they had these. It was like friggin' hilarious. They had these like little sailboats, like probably
mm-hmm.
like 6, 7 feet long.
Yeah.
But we like cast them up and like let the kids sail on them, and it was really fun.
Uh-huh.
So I was doing that all
Nice.
day.
Yeah.
And then this massive, it was probably like 3 or 4 p.m. by this time on this particular day, in my
Uh-huh.
second term, and
Uh-huh.
this massive, like, I just saw this massive like storm cloud just like rolling in. And so it's like protocol for us to be like, all right, we got to get these kids off, and like, just for safety
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, everyone's freaking out. The water's getting super choppy and just like going up and down. People are like falling off their boats and stuff. Like, it was crazy. And,
Wow.
we're screaming at these kids like, get out of the water, get out of the water. And like, it,
Yeah.
it was like a scene from a movie. Like, everyone's like scrambling to, get out of there.
Yeah.
Luckily we got everyone off, and, we didn't get any, in trouble for that. But, um,
Mm-hmm.
the crazy thing was, I think most people have probably experienced sea legs before, getting off a boat or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And I got off the lake that day and essentially just never got off. And so I remember getting off and just feeling super seasick. Like, man, I'm going to throw up. I can barely walk. Like, I felt like I took 10 shots and like was trying to walk around. Like, it was wild.
Yeah.
And I remember going back to my cabin and I was telling my guys like, yo, I gotta sleep this off. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
The next day I walked over to the nurse's office and I was like, something's wrong. I feel super seasick, and they were like, you know what, that's common. Like, it's just gonna wear off. For that next week, man, I went back there probably like 3 or 4 times, like begging them,
Uh-huh.
like, hey, something's not right with my body. Like, you need to take me to the hospital. And it was
Yeah.
during the height of COVID. Go ahead.
Were you trying to work during the day,
Yeah.
or
So
were
I
you
mean,
just like posted up in your cabin,
yeah. So
or
I
like
mean,
back and forth?
I was mostly posted up. I talked to a couple guys and was just like, because we had two other counselors in our cabin, so they
Mm-hmm.
kind of took care of some things. But yeah, I got to the point where I was like, I need to tap out of this. I need to go see a doctor. And they were
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, you probably have COVID because we didn't know back then. They thought it might have been a symptom or something. And
Yeah.
so they literally put me in quarantine for a day. And then, yeah, it was wild. And then
Another day, but another
yeah,
day for you to have no clarity on what is happening to you.
exactly. And
Yeah.
another day of, um, I remember calling my parents, being like, hey, don't mean to freak you out, but I'm like kind of sick and they're going to take me to the hospital. And
Uh-huh.
so they do end up taking me to the hospital, drop me off. They do like brain scans, all this kind of stuff. And um, gosh, I think 4 or 5 hours roll by. They give me some medicine that I didn't know what it was, which is kind of sketchy. They just
Mm-hmm.
put it in my IV, and I was like, all right, it helped. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got back to the camp, and they're like, yeah, you need to go home. So, I had my pops fly out the next day and come get me, and we drove back. And it actually took so that happened in June of 2020, and then it took
Mm-hmm.
till October 2020 back in Colorado to figure
Uh-huh.
out what was going on with me. And
Wow.
I'm transitioning to my second year of college. I'm like, all
Right.
right, I'm a collegiate athlete. I'm on a good scholarship at a school that was really amazing. I was studying
Mm-hmm.
biblical studies, which is something that I was
Mm-hmm.
passionate about, and I was like, man, like I kind of got it all together. Like, what's going on here? Um,
Yeah.
and then I just got completely blindsided, by life and by a sickness that I didn't know what was going on. And I remember there was periods of like, man, I probably have cancer. Like, something's really wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
just a lot of big fear that was gripping me, and rightly so. I mean, if anyone had something that life altering, it got to the
Yeah.
point where like, my vision blurry, barely walking, like slurring my words, all this kind of stuff. And so
Wow.
got to see a specialist in that October, and they were like, "Yeah, you essentially you have Malday debarkment syndrome." And I'm like, "Dude, I can't even pronounce what that is. Like, you're gonna need to repeat that." Like, I don't even know. And it's French for like being sick off of a vessel, essentially what that word means. Uh, so
Wow.
yeah, it's super rare. Not many people have it. There's literally like a website online about it, and that's about it. And so just explaining what it is, and um, yeah. So I mean, after that, I had to call my coach and be like, hey, um, I can't come back. I've had something happen, and I didn't know at that moment that I'd be done. Right. I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things happen in our lives where we see something happen that's not good, but we don't know how bad it is. Like, we don't know how life altering it can be.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was in that moment, man. I remember on that phone call, I'm like, yeah, I got to step away, and, contacting my school and all those types of things. And, it was one of those things where I was going like, yeah, I need to step away. But, in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, I'm going to be fine in like a few months. Like, it'll go away.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
yeah, and I remember waking up every morning being like, all right, it's just today, it's gonna go away. Like, I'm gonna start feeling better now. And it just didn't.
Uh-huh.
And so here I am,
Ugh.
uh 3 years later, still dealing with Malday debarkment syndrome. And so my life went from scholarship, collegiate athlete, having a whole lot of influence, money, etc., to not having all that, and not being able to graduate. I turned 23 next month, and
Yeah.
so seeing your friends that you made connections with graduate,
Right.
seeing my teammates, get really get really good and continue out their 4 years at that university and, grab their jersey with their name on it and get to hold that up on their senior day was a tragic thing for me. And I've learned a lot through these 3 years, and I think for me it's what do I value the most, and that has to be my faith. I had so many identities in different places, right? Like, I'm a college athlete. Like, that's who I am. Like, if someone meets me, they're like, all right, your name's Dalton. Like, what do you do? Oh, I'm an athlete. I play soccer. Like, I'm at John Brown University. And it was one of those things where I had to be like, yeah, my name's Dalton, and I don't do anything
soccer
with my life. Yeah, I used to. Like, I don't do anything with my life right now. Like, I'm going to treatment. I'm sick. And so having to battle with what others
your identity. Oh, yeah.
Was so hard, and it was such a humbling thing, man. So humbling. I mean, I think we all have things we can fall back on, and whether that's different accomplishments or different things we want to express to people, especially if we're in a place of vulnerability and we don't know what to do next. I think sometimes we tend to express the things that we're good at and the things that kind of make us who we are. And like, never would I've been like, hey, I'm Dalton, I'm a Jesus follower. Like, that would have never crossed my mind.
Or I'm the son of my parents.
Yeah.
And that's my proudest identification. I'm the son of my parents, and that is my proudest ID there.
Totally.
But that's, I don't think I would have said that at your age,
Yeah. Especially being gosh, that happened when I was 19, So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm always evolving through it, and always trying to grow through it. And there's days where, I suck, and it's the worst. And, I won't lie, like, I wish it would just evaporate and, be better. And I wish that all the time. But there's some days where.
What's the balance, Dalton?
Go ahead.
I'm curious. What is most crippling to you? Is it the actual physical condition, or is it mentally doing the work of trying to find meaning and trying to make sense of it and trying to find your identity apart from all the things that you were pursuing? Which is the thing that becomes most crippling to you? Is it the mental side of it, or is it actually dealing with the physical sea legs and feeling dizzy a lot?
Yeah.
Or is it like from day to day it's different? I don't know. What is it like?
I mean, it's a all over answer. I think some days it's, gosh, I'm feeling really crappy. Like, I feel like I can't walk. I feel like I'm on the Atlantic Ocean in the middle of a sea storm. And that affects me mentally, right? Where I'm like, man, this is never going to get better. Or
it like feeds on each other. Yeah.
Or I have a better day, and then I'm like, dang, I'm feeling physically all right. Let me go to the gym. Let me do this and that. But then there's that thought of, it's going to get you tomorrow, or it's going to come back in a moment. And then that's where that mental thing goes, where you start to spiral again. So I would say it's all over. And I think it's centered the way I think a lot, because I've had to be like, man, I don't know, right? And I think that's a point where a lot of us have to get in life, is like, even though I'm still young, I turn 23 next month. Like, I don't know everything. I don't pretend to. But one thing I do know is, like, tomorrow is not promised, and the next 10 minutes of my life isn't promised, and I don't know where I'm going to be in the next 10 minutes. I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. And I think a lot of us, in the back of our minds, have this idea of, yeah, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and do my work and do whatever I need to do to progress my
Hang out with
life. And
friends and
hmm
do
yeah,
laundry, just do
exactly.
all the things.
Exactly.
Yep.
But one thing I've learned is that you don't know that for sure. And you don't
Mm-hmm.
know the 100%. Um, and what you can control is how you respond to it. And I think one of the big takeaways from this is reaction versus responding, and um, like how can I not react in a way that's hateful and lashful towards, because whatever I'm feeling inside, ultimately, Mike, like I know myself, I'm gonna like project it onto other people. So if I'm having a crappy day, like I'm gonna be
Uh-huh.
like a total jerk to everyone around me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so how do I like, even though it's hard, like even though it sucks, and like it's the natural response to just bunker down and get pissed off about it, which is fair. Um,
Yeah.
but it's like, what? How is
But
that
how
making?
exhausting is it? How
Hmm.
exhausting is it to go through life as a freaking victim?
Yeah.
Like, and then you go through your entire life. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. I'm a victim of something someone else did, of something someone else didn't do, of
Hmm.
a car accident you were in where you weren't even responsible for what had happened.
Hmm.
Someone close to you uh, dying in a car accident, whatever it might be,
Hmm.
and you go through your life as this almost like the world owes you something,
Yeah.
or other people owe you something,
Hmm.
and that life is not playing out the way it was supposed to. There's
Yeah.
this whole like idea of this is this is how life is supposed to be for a 22-year-old.
Hmm.
This is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But where do we get that? Because it's not true. There is no supposed to be.
Hmm.
There's likely it's likely going to be like this,
Yeah.
but there's definitely not a supposed to be. So
Hmm.
getting to a place where day after day, moment after moment, you're just aware that whatever happens, good or bad, it just is.
Yeah.
It just
Hmm.
is.
Yeah.
And because what is the alternative? To say, I had a really bad day, I had a really good day. But what are you even basing that off of? I
Yeah.
asked somebody one time how their day was going, and they said, "Oh, it's going pretty good." I said, "Why?" And they said, "Well, nothing bad has happened." And I went,
Interesting.
"Well, what's bad?
Yeah.
What's bad?" Because
Hmm.
sometimes the painful moments, the difficult moments, are where we grow the most.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe it wasn't a good day because you didn't grow.
Hmm.
You weren't pushed. You had no opportunity to be challenged or to become stronger. I don't know, but you're dealing with a heaping spoonful of that the past
Hmm.
couple years of how do you look at it? Do you look at your life as good or bad, or you say it just is, and it's up to me now to go, well, how am I going to play the cards I've been dealt? Or I can just
Yeah.
piss and moan about the cards I've been dealt
Right.
and just crawl into a hole. And yeah, so
Hmm.
good on you for wanting to come on here to dig into it, because I'm positive there will be people that will listen to this that will be encouraged that they can go through what they're going through
Yeah.
and maybe have a perspective that's not simply good or bad. I had a good day, I had a bad day, but it's just I had a day,
Yeah.
and things happen, and they just are, rather
Yeah.
than they're good things and bad things, because it gets pretty dicey. Have you ever heard this one time? Someone's like, "Why does God let bad things happen to good people?
Right. It's like, what's good?
Like why would God allow my grandma to die? Why would God
Hmm.
allow me to get a
Yeah.
flat tire? Why would
Yeah.
God aren't I doing the right thing? Aren't I being a good person? Like why would God let this happen?"
Yeah.
And the pushback
Yeah.
for me is, where's the line?
Hmm.
So if you get a paper cut tomorrow, would you apply the same principle? Why would God allow this to happen? If you stub your toe, if you get a C instead of a B on an exam, why would God allow this to happen? Well, most people would be like, no, that's silly. I would never complain about that.
Yeah,
You spill your coffee in the kitchen. You say, why would God allow this to happen? I don't know. It's a very weird thing that we start assuming we know the way God works.
for sure,
I don't
for
know.
sure. And I think like being able to kind of decipher what is good at the end of the day, like,
Uh huh.
if anything, I've learned that I'm a pretty messed up guy. Like I had those thoughts when I began my journey of like, why would this happen? Like I'm doing ministry, like I'm literally at a camp right now working for God.
Right.
Like
Right.
why would this happen? Um,
Right.
but then you kind of peel back the layers of who you are, and I'm like, dude, like I'm selfish, I'm arrogant, I am very naive to my mistakes, and um very bitter towards things that I didn't even know existed. And I'm like, man, maybe my relationship with God is like I actually need you, and I actually need you to save me instead of God.
You're not just a bonus, but you're
Mhm, mhm,
everything.
exactly. Like I'm, I felt pretty confident that like he's proud that I'm on his team, which he is. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, it was more of a self confidence kind of thing, not a desperation kind of I need you moment. And I think a lot of us feel that way. And also
Yeah.
I also think too like we all go through pain. Like it's not erasable. It's inevitable. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I think everyone's story, whatever they go through, is completely valid and understandable and should be seen and heard. And you know those moments of pain, and they should be listened to and learn from, no matter what it is. And so, for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's like when someone tells me, man, I just had a terrible day, and it was like, gosh, I gotta be on a test. To some people, like that really sucks. And I think
Mm-hmm.
initially I was like, dude, shut up. Like, don't ever speak to me again. Like, if you come out with me with that BS of like,
Yeah.
like my
Yeah.
life's terrible, and like I have bad grades.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Um, but
Well, I don't have matching shoes for my outfit. My life
exactly,
sucks.
exactly. You
Oh,
know,
tell me about that. Well, we gotta. We're
big
about out
BS.
of time, man. We're about out of time,
Running
and
out of
I feel
time.
like we
No
could
worries.
talk for. I think we could talk for 2 more hours, but
We could. We
because
could.
it's super interesting, and I love talking with you. Um, maybe the secret is this: like at the end of the day, no matter whether it was quote unquote a good day or a bad day, if you're laying on your pillow at the end of the day, you say, "What did I learn, and how did I grow?"
Yeah,
And maybe the third would be, "Whose life was better today because I intersected theirs?"
that's good. That's good.
Those three questions could be
Hmm,
game changers for
that's good. Yeah,
me at the end of the day.
yeah. And for me
What did
too.
I
Always
learn?
learning.
How did I
Yeah.
grow? And whose life was actually better because I intersected theirs today? And it could have been the cashier at CVS,
Right.
but you just complimented their whatever haircut. I don't know. And you're like, wow, hair looks great today, Betty. Or, like
Yeah.
you're in
Exactly.
CVS once a week and you know that her name is Betty. And
Mhm.
the littlest thing, like we have such potential to use our lives to make other people's lives better if we
Yeah.
just take advantage of those opportunities. But now we're getting down another rabbit trail. I'm getting philosophical. Dalton, I need you to send me an EDM playlist.
Oh, for sure.
and then I'm gonna listen to it tomorrow while I'm driving.
Okay. I have one. You have Spotify, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay, good. I didn't know if you were one of those
I'm
Apple
hyped for
users.
Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark is what I'm excited about.
Lewis
Is that
and
what they're
Child,
called?
but yeah,
Oh,
Lewis and
okay.
Clark. I might change the name to Lewis and Clark now. I might go into it and shift it up.
Make me a
Um,
playlist called Lewis and Clark.
I got you. I got you. I
All
have
right,
one
good, good,
that's
good.
called Euphoria that I think you'd like, so I'll send that your way.
Okay, send me
So,
the link.
of course.
Dalton Georgopulos. There are 9 letters in your last name. There's 4 letters in mine. Shout out to Kanakuk.
Shout out to
Shout out
Kennecook.
to John Brown.
Shout out to
What?
JBU. Shout out JBU. Go Eags.
Shout
Go
out
Eags.
John Brown University. Shout out to Arkansas. Shout out to No Humidity in Colorado. Shout out to your awesome parents
Shout out to my
and
parents.
the rest of your family. Shout out to the Oakland A's. Is that your Oakland A's hat you're wearing right now?
It is. You know what? I just got it because it looked
They're
cool.
having a tremendous. They're having a great season.
Really? Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I knew that.
not at all.
Yeah, I kind of just got it because it looked cool. I'm not gonna lie. And I just figured out there's 10 letters in my last name, so don't judge me for that.
Oh
Sorry,
my
guys.
gosh,
Sorry for
fuzzy
anyone
math,
listening that
fuzzy
thought there
math.
was a 9 the whole time. But
I had this epic throwback White Sox hat that just said SOX, and I thought it
okay,
was so cool looking. I wore that in high school. I had no idea who the
no idea.
White Sox were or what.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't judge. I've been there.
As long as you rock it and get a good outfit going with it, that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
I'm sure the A's organization is happy that their team is getting a little love right now because they're not getting a lot of love elsewhere.
Dude, getting some love in Charlotte, North Carolina, across the country.
I know.
I mean, come on now.
Heck yeah.
Good
Yeah,
promoting.
Man. All right, Dalton, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for being on.
Love you,
I
dude.
really do appreciate you sharing all this.
Yeah.
And we'll talk soon, man.
Awesome.
Have a great night. Later.